I'm here in Brooklyn, New York, home to one of the largest Italian populations outside of Italy. This area specifically, Carroll Gardens, is a historically Italian area, home to some of the city's best Italian food, pizza especially. A lot of great Italians have come out of Brooklyn, but the most famous one of all isn't even a real person. But he's real in our hearts. Yep, I'm talking about everyone's favorite Italian plumber, Mario. Mario is both canonically from Brooklyn and Italian. And as a proud Italian American, I asked myself one day, what other video game characters are Italian? With a little digging, I actually found a ton of paisanos across several decades of video gaming, through different genres, consoles, and character types. So why am I doing this? What the hell is the point? First off, Italians love finding out that someone else is Italian. So when they do something cool, you have a small sense of pride. I also wanted to dig a little deeper on why predominantly Japanese game designers have often chosen Italian American as a video game character trait. What are their influences? Why did they make these choices? Are these culturally accurate depictions or just broad stereotypes? I also love the country of Italy. I've been lucky enough to go to Rome and Lake Como. It's the most beautiful country I've ever been to, with some of the planet's best food. And honestly, a ton of very nice people. My family immigrated to America in the 1920s from Calabria to New Jersey, and I'm always looking for ways to engage with my Italian heritage. Whether through food, movies, books, TV, and now video games. Let's all grab a big plate of lasagna, pause that third binge watch of The Sopranos, and dive into the big bowl of red sauce that is Italians in video games. Here we go! I gotta start off this video with the most obvious Italian video game character. The creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, has indeed confirmed that Mario is Italian. As a kid, I was a big comic fan and I liked foreign comics as well. So I drew some characters that had more Western type features with a little bit bigger noses and whatnot. Now with Mario, I think with Mario Bros, we had a setting, of course, that was underground. So I just decided Mario is a plumber. Let's put him in New York and he can be Italian. There really was no other deep thought than that. For many Italians, Mario and Luigi are a source of pride via pop culture iconography. And a select few people are offended by them, which I find kinda weird, but okay. To me, the Mario Bros are meant to be beacons of fun and ambassadors of gaming. I don't know, the voice is clearly meant to be silly, not anything derogatory against Italians. Over the decades, Mario has become one of the world's most popular mascots, first existing as a mere lump of pixels, now he stars on the silver screen. Although he has starred on the silver screen before, but we don't have to talk about that. Mario's most recent film grossed over $1.3 billion and gave us more of a glimpse into his culture as an Italian American. In the film, we see Mario, Luigi, and their family imbibing in a classic Sunday pasta dinner, an extremely common practice both in Italy and with Italian families globally. Vocally, Mario does have an exaggerated, Italianish, Brooklynish, cartoonish accent. Actor Charles Martinet said he was originally going to do more of an Italian accent, similar to that of a mobster, after being told Mario was a plumber from Brooklyn. But in an appeal to sound more friendly to children, he shifted to a softer, sillier take on Italian, saying, "Hello, I'm a Mario, okie dokie, let's make a pizza pie together. You go get some spaghetti, you go get us some sausage, I get a sauce. You gonna put some spaghetti on the sausage and the sausage on the pizza. Then I'm gonna chase you with the pizza, then you gonna chase me with the pizza, and gonna make a lasagna." In my mind, it doesn't get more Italianish than that, right? Obviously, Luigi is Italian since he's Mario's brother. I've always had a soft spot for Luigi. For many, he's an afterthought. His games are super underrated, but to me, he's an iconic Italian figure, just like his short king brother, Mario. Mario's world across several games have given off some pretty Italian vibes as well, either by the way it's designed and decorated or even through the music. Luncheon Kingdom in Mario Odyssey has some Pompeii and Roman elements. Isle Delfino in Mario Sunshine feels like an Italian coastal vacation destination. And lastly, the OG Mario item, mushrooms, are not only a popular pizza topping, but are also a key element in a lot of great Italian dishes. There's absolutely no question he's Italian with a name like Ezio Auditore di Firenze. Ezio literally means eagle in Italian. Go birds. Ezio was born into a noble family in Florence in 1459. His game takes place during the Italian Renaissance, as he crosses paths with some of Italy's most famous people of that era, like Da Vinci, Machiavelli, and the Pope. I've always felt like Ezio's Assassin's Creed games were somewhat light history lessons. The people, places, and ideas presented to the audience throughout the game could very easily lead one to want to learn more about this important era of Italian culture. And Ezio is the face of the Assassin's Creed franchise, one of the most popular in gaming. So Mario isn't the only Italian cover boy. He's the only character in the series that has multiple games surrounding him. These roles make him a quintessential stealth action figure in video game history. His fighting style is also based on the Italian school of swordsmanship, a style of fencing/edge style combat that dates back to 1409. Ezio's representation as an Italian is less based on realism and more based on drama. He personally goes through tremendous growth in these games, from a charismatic ladies' man to a dedicated, courageous leader. Plus, he's super handsome. I mean, come on, look at those dreamy eyes. One thing I've always thought was cool about fighting games was the character select screen. When you scroll over a character, you get that light little bit of bio information, often giving you information about their fighting style, appearance, and even country of origin. Like my boy Claudio here, who is of course from Italy. He's got absolutely insane drip like a lot of Italians do. Shout out to Milan, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada, Marni, Versace, I could go on. And is the leader of the organization known as the Archers of Sirius. What do? Oh, just banish supernatural threats like ghosts, demons, and the like. Claudio is said to be the world's strongest exorcist. His fighting style is known as exorcism sorcery. The power of Christ truly compels him. Claudio also has a flair for the dramatics, which is pretty typical Italian behavior in my experience. We are a people who wear our hearts and emotions on our sleeves. Lots of pride, tons of personality. Fio is the only daughter of a wealthy Italian family from Genoa in Metal Slug lore. Her military-leaning family was hoping for a son, but got her instead, so she was thrusted into becoming a soldier and joining the government forces. Her most prized possession is a teddy bear named Peppino, which is super Italian, and she likes cooking, one of the skills Italians lead the entire world in. The powerful Marisa is a jewelry designer from Italy who's said to have Greek heritage that she's extremely proud of. Her attire is clearly based on Roman gladiator clothing. In tandem with this, many of her attacks are named after Roman military formations like Gladius and Phalanx. Apparently, she was inspired to become a fighter after seeing the Colosseum as a kid. Marisa's fighting style, Pancration, is a submission-based Greek style that dates back to the 7th century BC Greece. Another video game character from Genoa. Rose is an Italian fortune teller who wields a mysterious energy known as soul power. Apparently born from the good half of Bison's soul, whatever that means, Rose wields magical tarot cards. The real-life version of tarot cards are Italian in origin. She's actually the first Italian character introduced to the Street Fighter series and the third female character added in total. Vulcano is a fighter hailing from Bari, Italy, first debuting in Street Fighter EX2. Although technically I think he's from an underground base somewhere in the Mediterranean, but you get the point. Rosso is a huge fan of red wine, one of Italy's biggest exports. Anyone who's had real Italian red wine can relate. He also loves Renaissance art as well, and hates people who don't appreciate art. Definitely on Team Rosso here. If you don't appreciate art, you can get the fuck out of here. His whole setup is a reference to volcanoes, specifically his special move Vesuvius, using fire projectiles that resemble a volcanic eruption or lava column. I believe almost all of his moves reference either Italian landmarks or terms having to do with volcanoes, like Torre Pendente de Pisa or Ponte de Sospiri. Apparently Little Mac is an Italian-American guy from the Bronx. Go Yanks. He resembles real-life boxer Jake LaMotta, who was Italian-American. We still don't know what MAC stands for. Typically, MAC is a nickname for Irish people with MC or MAC in front of their surnames. Perhaps it stands for Machi, Macaluso, Machia, or Macari. And we got even further confirmation that Little Mac is Italian from one of his voice actors. Paulie Malignaggi played Little Mac in Punch-Out for the Wii commercials and was asked to portray a young Italian-American guy, good-looking, with a cocky attitude and a heavy New York accent. Tommy is a mercurial Italian-American mobster living down in Vice City after serving a 15-year prison sentence for murder. He's a made man from the fictional Fiorelli crime family who eventually finds himself as the kingpin of Vice City's criminal exports. Originally, Tommy tried to live an honest life in his native Liberty City, but eventually found his way into a life of crime. Many standardly compare him to Tony Montana from Scarface, but even more likable. And he was actually voiced by Italian-American actor Ray Liotta, who starred in Goodfellas. Many think this portrayal is some of the best video game voice acting of all time, as Ray Liotta won several awards for his role as Tommy Vercetti. So apparently this complete freaky weirdo is also Italian. Voldo was introduced in the 1996 game Soul Edge. Lore states that he was the right-hand man of Vercetti, an Italian weapons merchant. When the Italian Wars broke out, Vercetti's weapons were targeted first. Vercetti then moved his wealth and weapons onto an uninhabited island near Sicily. Voldo, instructed to be its protector, Vercetti sealed him in an underground tomb. Over time, Voldo became blind and insane. Beyond lore, there isn't much Italian about this absolute weirdo. I mean, look at him go. Adrian Maestro Martello was born in Rome, Italy. He grew up in a large Italian family with 8 siblings and joined the military to ease his family's financial burden. At the age of 18, he moved to Modena to attend the military academy. After that, he joined the 1st paratrooper regiment known as Toscania, where he went on several tours of duty. He engaged in multiple actions against homegrown threats in Italy and eventually became an instructor, helping train units in the Italian military. And this enabled him to join Rainbow as a representative of the Italian units. He's a good-natured leader who'll sacrifice himself for the betterment of the team. Growing up in a huge family made him less selfish and more of a guide or teacher to younger troops. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to say much about this. These games portray fictional versions of Italian organized crime, and were likely created as a response to the popularity of The Sopranos in the early 2000s. Which leads me to one of the greatest games of all time. Not really, but this game does look hilarious, at least for the low-poly versions of the Sopranos characters. It appears a lot of the main actors from the TV show lent their voiceover talents for this one. The game's storyline takes place in between the show's 5th and 6th seasons. It's a super linear, story-driven game that solely focuses on the mob aspects of The Sopranos. The playable character Joey LaRocca is novel to the game. He's the son of Big Bumpin' Can I say Big on YouTube? I'm gonna say Big. He's the son of Big Bumpin' and is visited by the ghost of his father throughout the game, warning him of the danger ahead. Sorry for the spoilers, but you should have watched The Sopranos by now. I'll be faster with these. I wanted to talk about characters that gave off Italian vibes, but weren't necessarily confirmed Italian by lore. So yeah, Wario isn't necessarily Italian. Apparently he was supposed to have a German accent in development. And as Mario's counterpart, him being German kinda makes sense. There are many conflicting reports and ideas about Wario's ethnicity. Some say he's Italian, others say he's Austrian. Only his original designers know the truth. In my opinion, he's given huge Austrian vibes. Like, he's Austrian. Wario is Austrian. You can't tell me he's not Austrian. Same camp as Wario. He's Luigi's counterpart, so he could be German, he could be Austrian, he could be Swiss, he could be Italian, he could be nothing. I don't know. I've even found some discourse online that these characters don't have a true real-world ethnicity since they're technically from the Mushroom Kingdom, but if you believe that, you're a huge dweeb. I mean, Falco is a bird, so maybe he's an Italian bird. He's got an Italian last name, Lombardi, likely taken from the legendary NFL head coach Vince Lombardi, who the Super Bowl trophy's named after. Lombardy is a real region of Italy. Many people who moved to the United States were given the name of the place where they came from at Ellis Island, so as a result, many have the last name Lombardi. Falco is also the Italian word for falcon. Another animal with an Italian-sounding last name. Vercetti's real name is Sonny Vercetti. I believe his name is a reference to games resetting if you don't save. His job is to remind players to save before quitting. Why he's a mole, I don't know. Giovanni's characterization is definitely based on Italian organized crime, as he's the leader of the Team Rocket crime syndicate. His name's definitely Italian sounding, and his always having a Persian around is a reference to the famous Godfather cat scene. So, what do we think of this huge pool of Italian video game characters? Did I miss any? Some were inspired by Western cinema, comic books, and even history. Others had to give them a nationality because it was true to their game, i.e. fighting games. Maybe they just wanted to give the character some personality beyond just being a white person. Who knows? Either way, I had a great time researching my fellow paisanos in the video game realm. I'm so glad you came along for the ride. I'm gonna go grab a slice. This has been Dansplaining Italians in Video Games. I'll see you next time.